My girlfriend claimed she was drunk and taken advantage of, but now the guy revealed the truth. She pursued him from the start. What happened to me is unbelievable. Miranda is, without exaggeration, the most unbelievable person I have ever known. She went from being a loving girlfriend to someone capable of saying anything just to avoid taking responsibility. And I am not talking about a simple misunderstanding. I am talking about a lie so serious that it almost destroyed an innocent person. We had been boyfriend and girlfriend for 2 years. We met in college, and soon after we were already dating. We got along well, had similar goals, and the best part was that, as far as I knew, there was a very strong connection between us. Miranda was charismatic, fun, very affectionate, and, yes, passionate. When we were together, she made me feel unique. She had this way of looking at me as if I were the only one in the world. But of course, now that I think about it, all of that must have been an act, because a person who really loves you does not do what she did. All of this started with a party, a reunion with old college friends, on a Friday night. We were both excited to go. It was a good opportunity to see people we had not seen in years and, in general, to have a good time. Until a proposal came up at my job, to work a double shift from Friday to early Saturday morning. They would pay me for everything at an overtime rate, which at that time was a very important income for me. So, although with some regret, I accepted. I told Miranda that unfortunately I could not go, but Miranda said she did not want to miss it, and I saw nothing wrong with that. Now, when I look back at those days before, something feels off. I cannot be 100% sure, but I have the memory of Miranda being very attached to her phone, more than usual. She would smile to herself, type quickly, and when I asked her who she was talking to, she would say it was with a coworker from the office. I did not give it much importance at the time. Friday arrived. She texted me before my shift started to wish me luck. We agreed that when I got off work on Saturday morning, I would go to her apartment with breakfast, take a nap there, and in the afternoon, we would go for a walk. A perfect plan. During my night shift, she texted me a couple of times, telling me that everything was going well, that they were having a good time. I was happy to know that, but at some point she stopped responding. I assumed she was distracted or had gone asleep. On Saturday, I got off work at 6 in the morning, exhausted, but eager to see her. I stopped by a bakery, bought some things, and arrived at her apartment around 7. When I entered, she was asleep, curled up in bed. I approached her carefully, woke her up, and at first she smiled, but suddenly she started to cry. She told me not to touch her. She covered herself with the sheets as if I were someone dangerous. I froze. I did not understand what was happening. I sat on the edge of the bed and asked her to tell me what was wrong. She was trembling. It was hard for her to speak, and after a few minutes of silence, she told me a story that I still find hard to believe she was capable of telling. She told me that the night before she had been having a good time, dancing and chatting, when a guy, someone she did not know, approached her and was with her all night. She believes that at some point he put something in her drink or got her too drunk, because she does not clearly remember what happened next. Only that at one point they were lying in bed together and that when she realized it, she fled the place and went back to her apartment. I was completely in shock. She was crying. She looked really distressed and would not let me get close. Then, she concluded the story with a sentence that seemed strange to me at the time, but that I now understand perfectly. I am telling you this because I do not want you to find out from others and have a distorted version of me. At that moment, I did not understand the hidden message. I asked her who that guy was, if she knew him, if he was someone from the university. She told me no, that she had no idea who he was, that he was probably a friend of someone or had snuck into the party. I told her, with all the seriousness in the world, that we had to go and file a report, that this was very serious, but she refused. She said she did not want more problems, that the best thing was for it all to be left there, that the only thing she needed was to rest. I insisted. I told her that if she did not do it, that guy could continue hurting other women, but she just curled up more and said nothing. She fell asleep. I stayed seated by her side, unable to believe what I had just heard. When she fell asleep, I got up, went to the kitchen, and poured myself a coffee. And there I made a decision. If she was not going to seek justice, I would. I took out my cell phone and wrote to an acquaintance, a friend of mine from college who had also been at that party. I told her I needed to talk to her urgently. She replied shortly after, and we spoke on the phone. I asked her if she had seen Miranda, and her answer left me even more confused. She told me yes, that she had seen her for almost the entire party, but that she was very close to a guy, that they were going from one place to another, dancing, chatting, and that even she, my friend, had thought that Miranda and I were no longer together because of how they were behaving. I asked her to please tell me who the guy was, and she gave me a name. He was not a friend of mine, but I did know who he was, an acquaintance of one of the guys from the group. When I asked her if she knew what had happened between them, she told me that the last thing she saw was Miranda running down from the second floor and leaving the party alone. She did not know more. I went back to the room and Miranda was still asleep. I decided not to wake her up. I lay down on the couch and slept for a couple of hours. When I woke up, it was almost 1 in the afternoon. She woke me up, shaking my shoulder, this time with a completely different attitude. She was calmer. She told me she had slept some and that she wanted to cook a nice lunch for both of us, something to calm us down. While she was cooking, I took the opportunity to confront her. I told her that I had spoken with a friend of mine who was at the party and that she told me something different from what Miranda had told me, that, according to her, Miranda had been after a guy all night, very close, and that I already knew who he was. Miranda's expression changed. She stopped stirring the pot and looked at me with an angry face. She told me she had not been after him, that they just talked for a while, but that nothing ever happened and that if she did not tell me who he was, it was because she did not want more problems. I asked her if she was lying to me. She got offended. She told me she did not understand why I could not just support her, that she needed to forget all that, to leave it behind. I insisted again that we go and file a report, and this time she got really upset. She said that she had already told me what happened, that she was tired, and that I should please stop dwelling on the matter. Reluctantly, I left the subject there. We had lunch. She tried to act as if everything was fine. She made jokes, she laughed, she even suggested we go for a walk in the afternoon, but I was no longer comfortable. There was a feeling in the air that would not let me be at ease. So, with an excuse, I said goodbye early and went to my house to rest. And there, with a clearer head, I started to think about everything again, and what before seemed like confusion now started to smell like a lie. On Monday, I made a decision. I could not continue with the uncertainty anymore. I left work and told Miranda I would pick her up. She replied enthusiastically, thinking we were going out to eat. And yes, that is what I told her, but before that, I had another destination in mind. I took her directly to the police station. When she saw where we were going, her face changed completely. I told her that we could not allow a guy like that to be loose without consequences, and that if she did not have the courage, then I would do it. She immediately refused. She told me she did not want to get into trouble. She tried to resist, but in the end, reluctantly, she agreed to go in with me. Once inside, in front of the officer, her story changed. She tried to soften everything she had said before. He was no longer an unknown guy. Now she said he was a friend, that they had been drinking, and that maybe he put something in her drink, but that she could not be sure. She said that the music was very loud and that everything was confusing, that she only remembered being in a room lying down with him, and that she reacted when someone opened the door, that it was the light that made her run out. We went to dinner afterwards, but the atmosphere was tense. Miranda was in a bad mood. She barely spoke, and when she did it was to throw hints at me. At one point she told me, "I hope this does not bring me problems, all because of you." I did not respond. I just looked at her. I wanted to tell her 1,000 things, but I held back. I wanted to see how far this would go, and of course it brought problems. The next day, we were at her apartment, ready for dinner. I had brought some empanadas, and she was setting the table. There was a loud knock on the door, hard, insistent knocks. Miranda went to open, somewhat puzzled, and to our surprise, the person at the door was none other than Mateo, the guy we had reported. Mateo was furious. He had a sheet of paper in his hand which I later found out was a copy of the report, and he looked at us with hatred. As soon as he saw her, he yelled, "Why the hell did you report me?" I immediately stood in front of him, ready to defend her. I told him he was a disgusting abuser, that he was not going to get away with it, but Mateo did not flinch. He just took out his cell phone, put it in front of my face, and said, "Look at this." They were messages, dozens of messages, all from Miranda, dated from several days before the party. And then I understood everything. She started writing to him as soon as she found out that I could not go. The first messages were casual, but they quickly changed tone. Miranda proposed meeting up before the party. She told him she needed to have fun. Mateo, to be fair, ignored her. He told her it was not a good idea, that they could get into trouble, but she insisted. Then came the messages after the party. Miranda told him that they had been interrupted and that they should meet again to finish what they had left pending. The last message was from that same afternoon, where she told him that the next day she would be free all day and that they could meet calmly. Mateo lowered his cell phone and looked at us with disgust. He pointed directly at her. "You were the one who pursued me at the party. You would not leave me alone. You asked me to dance. You clung to me. You told me we should go to a room, and we did. It was not any abuse. Your friend opened the door, and you ran away. But that does not give you the right to ruin my life with a false report." Miranda, who had backed away to the kitchen, said nothing. Mateo pointed to the copy of the report. "You have until tomorrow to withdraw it. If you do not, I will sue you for defamation, and I have the proof right here. I am warning you, Miranda. I am not going to let you ruin my life." And he left. I stood in the living room without knowing what to say. I turned to her and asked, "What the hell have you done?" She started to blame me. She said that all of this was my fault. That was why she did not want to report him, that she had told me from the beginning, that I forced her, that now she was in a horrible problem and did not know how she was going to get out of it. I could not believe it. I yelled at her. "But what are you saying? You were the one who threw yourself at him. You said you did not know who he was, that he had drugged you. You lied about something as serious as an assault." She continued with her victim role, saying that was not how things had happened, that maybe she did not remember well, that I was attacking her. I told her that I had already read the messages, that I had seen everything, and I asked her to show me her cell phone. She refused. She put it in her pants pocket and started to cry. Not tears of pain, but of shame. And that is when I finally saw who she really was. A cheating, lying woman who had invented a very serious story to cover up a betrayal, who had used me as a shield so she would not look like the bad guy, who falsely accused a man just because she was afraid the truth would come out. I broke up with her right then and there. I told her I did not want to see her again, that she should not try to contact me. I left her house, and as I walked to my car, everything started to fall into place. She only told me her story because someone had seen her. Surely one of her friends discovered her and told her she was going to tell me. So she put on the whole show of the assault, the trauma, I do not remember anything, just to take the initiative and protect herself. And that is what outrages me the most, that she used something so delicate, so serious, as an excuse to cover up an infidelity, as if it were a game, as if with that she could manipulate everything. And she did it without caring that she was dragging another person into a criminal complaint to tarnish his name, and even in front of an officer at the police station, she was unable to tell the truth. Instead of admitting she had made it up, she chose to continue the lie, to adjust her story, to make it more ambiguous. What happened in the following days only confirmed everything to me. Miranda started writing to me from everywhere, messages, emails. She even called me from unknown numbers. She said that I was taking things out of context, that I was turning my back on her in her most vulnerable moment, and that she could not understand how I was able to leave her like that, so easily, as if everything we had lived through had been worthless. That a mistake did not erase love, and that what I was doing to her was even crueler than what she had done. Meanwhile, I continued to talk to people who had attended the party. I wanted to have the complete picture, to make sure I had not left anything unresolved. And that is where the missing piece appeared, the friend who discovered her. She was a former university classmate of Miranda, one of those friendships that grow distant over the years, but still maintain a certain bond through group events. According to her, she had been hesitant to tell me what she saw because she did not want to get into trouble, but when she found out about everything that had happened, she decided to speak. She confirmed everything. She said that Miranda had been after Mateo all night, that she did not leave his side for a second, that everyone saw it, and that at one point they both disappeared. This girl went up to the second floor to rest for a while because she had a headache and wanted to get away from the noise. It was then that she opened a door by mistake and found them. They were not just lying next to each other, as Miranda had said. They were having sex, and she described it bluntly. Miranda was on top of Mateo, completely given over. Upon being discovered, Miranda quickly got up, fixed her clothes as best she could, and ran out without saying a word. There were no shouts, no fight, nothing, just a shameful escape. And that, exactly that, was the final piece I needed to understand everything. Because not only had she invented a false story, not only had she lied to my face, not only had she filed a report for something that did not happen. The worst of all is that, even after that, she continued to write to Mateo to sleep with him again. And that brings us to the present. Miranda continues to play the victim on social media. She posts passive-aggressive messages and phrases about abandonment, pain, and how disappointing people who promise to be with you but disappear when you need them most can be. In a couple of stories, she even hinted that some people prefer to believe lies rather than support those they claim to love. At no point does she acknowledge anything. She does not talk about what she did. She does not mention the false report. She just tries to make me look like the heartless guy who left her devastated when she was at her worst. And that, honestly, was what made me make the final decision. I had no intention of dragging this out. I did not want to remain tied to her shadow or waste time defending myself from hints on social media. But there are things that cannot be let go. And seeing how she continued to play the victim role, trying to get pity and attention, disgusted me. So I decided to make it public. I contacted Mateo, explained everything to him, and asked him if he agreed to send me screenshots of the messages between them, including those after the party. I also asked him for a copy of the report that she herself signed. With all that material, I prepared a post, a timeline with evidence. I showed how, while being my girlfriend, Miranda was writing to another guy, how she was discovered in the act, how she invented an assault to cover her cheating, how she filed a false report, and how she blamed me for not playing along. The post went viral within our circle. Friends, acquaintances, university classmates, everyone started sharing it. No one could believe what she had done. Some wrote to me to support me. Others simply commented that something did not add up from the beginning when they read her posts. And, as expected, Miranda exploded. She filled my phone with messages, insults, pleas, threats. She demanded that I delete everything, that I had no right to expose her like that I was ruining her life, that how could I be so cruel? I did not reply to her. I just blocked her. Days later, I found out that she had closed some of her profiles. I suppose to avoid receiving so much hate. As she deserves. Because yes, she deserves it. Not for being unfaithful, not for having lied to me. That in itself is serious. But the unforgivable thing was using something as delicate as a report for assault as an excuse to cover her cheating. Because that not only destroyed me, it could also have destroyed Mateo's life. And even now, she does not have the courage to acknowledge anything. She only hides, she only blames, she only cries for her image. But I have nothing to do with that anymore.